guys, it's Sophie. So sorry I haven't filmed in a little while. I've not read a lot in Feb, but it was my birthday yesterday and I got a few books and I wanted to show you what they're all about. I will also do a February reading wrap up. Just didn't love everything I read in Feb and it's not made me want to like chat about books that much. But that's okay. I think I had a really reading heavy January and I'm also really excited for these books, so I feel like I can turn it around. Yeah, so I'm gonna get started. I've got some fiction that I got from Tom, which is lovely, and I have some non-fiction that I picked up myself yesterday as well. First one I have is In the End It Was All About Love. That's by Musa Okawonga. I have seen this one a lot on Instagram, and I think Tom normally has a look at Bookstagram. I think Hannah May might have read this one recently. This one is about a man who travels to Berlin, and I think he's trying to figure out what's happened to his father, who maybe died. I don't know too much about this one, but yes, I'm excited. It's also tiny. Lots of the fiction I have, which is really nice, are really small, so I'm going to be able to read a lot this week. I should have said I've also got this week of annual leave, so my birthday was on Sunday and I've now got the whole week to just sit and read and relax, which is really exciting. The next one I have is Love in the Big City by Sang-Young Park, and I think this cover's gorgeous. I actually hadn't heard of this one. Tom said he saw it in a lot of people's channels. I've not watched a lot of videos this month. This one's really exciting. This is like messy young people. I think we follow, what's the guy called? It just says Young. So I think we follow Young, who is a gay man who has a close female friend, and they just travel around the nightlife in South Korea and just be messy and young. And I love reading books like that, you know that, but I'm also excited to read one. I really like South Korea, like randomly. I've never been, but for some reason I like a lot of YouTube content from them. I think I've spoken about that before. It's like a rabbit hole I fell into, so I'm really excited to get to this one. Another one about messiness and being young is 20 Fragments of a Ravenous Youth by Xianao Gu. This one I found out about because the vintage Modern Herons editions are gorgeous, and they kind of make me want to buy all of them. But of all of them, this one, the title really stood out to me, and I didn't really know much about it at all. I was just like, oh, there's this collection of books. I don't think the editions are out yet, but have a look and see if you think I'd like any of them. So this one is about a young woman who is just, again, it's like very messy, but I'm definitely here for this. She wants to try and get more money living in the city. She is very much like railing against the idea of getting older and intent to kind of live her life while she's young. That feels very important to her. So yes, I will see what I think of this one. But Tom's done pretty well this year, like very well actually. I think he's chosen a lot of books I'm very excited for and that I haven't read or hadn't heard about. Next one I have is Asylum Road by Olivia Suchek. This one is one that Hannah May recommended I read as one of what was her favourite book of the year that I should read. So it was on my list to read for a little while, and I was going to buy it at some point, but Tom, again, very good choices Tom, managed to track this one down. I have read a couple of Olivia Suchek books before, I'm sure, but this is looking at a relationship that is, I think it's maybe kind of rocky, and then they get engaged, and I think it's her dealing with trauma of past relationships or past experiences whilst entering into this new relationship. I'm not totally sure, but I do kind of want to go in a little bit blind. I also think this cover is just stunning. I think they've done such a good job. It's so like memorable. And then the last one Tom got me was Assembly by Natasha Brown, another really small one. In fact, if I show you the stack, they are all nice small little fictions. This one I think is about intersections of race and class in the UK. We're following a black British woman who is, I think, going to her family friend or her boyfriend or someone she knows who's like really wealthy, really highly upper class, and is about to kind of see this different world, and is just how it doesn't relate to her own. I don't know that much more about that one than this, but I think Tom has done incredibly well with fiction this year. I'm excited for all of them, and I think unintentionally they're all very short books, which is always really appealing when you have, what I think is always really appealing when you have some time off to read, because then you can just eat them up. Then for the ones I got myself, which is the non-fiction, I got Patient One by Charlotte Raven, subtitled Forgetting and Finding Myself. This is about a woman who basically has never heard anything about Huntington's before. Her dad is diagnosed and she is like, oh, okay, I need to get tested, gets tested, finds out she also shares the gene for Huntington's. It's a degenerative disease. It can come on at any point in your life, and it's about her suddenly having been thought of herself as in like the land of the well, suddenly being like, oh, my time is limited and I don't know when I'm going to get unwell. And I think from reading the blurb, this tracks the period that she begins to decline. But yeah, I thought that one would be an interesting read. And the other three I have are all like nature-y ones. So the first one I picked up was The Insect Crisis by Oliver Milman, and this is looking at the effect that climate change is having on insect populations. I feel like we often talk about bees, but I think we don't talk about other insects that much, but how integral that is to the health of other species, how they are the decomposers and the food sources for a lot of other animals and birds. So yeah, it's also quoted by David Wallace Wells, who wrote a book on climate change I really enjoyed. So hopefully I like this one too. And then I got this one, which has one of the best covers and titles. Like, I just love it. This is called Hurricane Lizards and Plastic Squid, and it's by Thor Hansen, and I'll just show you the cover. So this is looking at how animals are adapting, or in some cases showing early signs of evolving towards the changing world in which we live, basically how they're being forced to change because of climate change. It's taking away a little bit of the kind of anthropomorphic centre of climate change, that it will end our world, and seeing what it's already doing to different animal species and how they are trying to survive in parts of the world that already definitely are being affected by climate change. I mean, kind of everywhere it is, but the places where it's forcing animal evolution. So I think this one's going to be fascinating. This one is definitely one I'm excited to get to soon. And then the last one I have is this one. This is Jungle by Patrick Roberts. And this looks at tropical forests all over the world and goes back into history to the modern day about how the existence of these tropical forests has shaped the way our Earth functions, the way carbon exchange has happened, the way that people used to rely on forests and live in forests, that it's not this just like terra incognita that is just too dangerous and no one ever lives there, all the way through to the modern age and things like medicine, things like deforestation, loss of habitat, etc, etc. So it's just a fairly meaty discussion about jungles, and I'm really excited for this one too. I think I'm going to pick this one up next when I finish my current read, which is The Naked Don't Fear the Water, which I'm very much enjoying. So those are all of the books I got for my birthday. I feel like I've got a really good stack. I've got some interesting fiction that Tom's done a really good job on, and I've chosen myself some non-fiction, some more chunky ones to put in the middle as well. So I think I'm in for a really good reading week. I don't know when I'm going to film my February wrap-up, but I need to do it soon. It's the 28th today, and we're also going to go to the Eden Project tomorrow, which I'm so excited for. I love the Eden Project. So I might potentially do some vlogs this week. But yes, I'll be a little bit more present this week than I have been the last month or so. It's just been, do you ever get that? Like, if you read a little spate of books that are like 3 stars, you're just kind of like, oh, okay. And it's not like all the books I've read are bad, it's just I haven't found any that I've really loved in February. Which just puts a little bit of a downer on how much I want to talk about books with you guys. But yes, I'm mega excited for these piles. I feel like March is gonna be the one. So I'll see you guys again soon in my next video, and look after yourselves until then. Bye.